dates later at 11. The Grace.
Yes, please. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the May 7th meeting of the Inland Wetlands Watercourse Commission meeting. First of all, if there's anybody here who has anything to say about something that's not on the agenda, now's your time to speak. If not, guys, read the minutes. I know we got the wrong minutes, but everybody got a new copy of them. Right? Any corrections, additions, deletions? If not, can I have a motion to approve? Hurry up.
I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Right. Next up is a public hearing on application 24-03W, proposal by Atlantis Management Group to construct a car wash facility with associated improvements in both the wetland and upland review area on lot 8, block 121, Berlin Turnpike. Have a motion to open the public hearing.
Make a motion to open a public hearing.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who's up?
Asking permission to sue the state judicial for $25 million for their alleged handling of race.
Hang on one second. I hear background. Is it anybody?
Whoever's listening, can you mute yourself at this point?
I think that's better. Yeah, it's gone now. Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
No problem. My name is Sarah Scagliola, licensee from BL Companies. So this property that you're looking at is 129 Berlin Turnpike. And just to orientate you, right to the south is the plaza with Home Depot, and to the north is the gas station by Atlantis Management Group. So this is the parcel that's currently wooded right in between those two. So the wetlands we have are located to the east and the south of the site, mainly due to the pond that's in front of the Home Depot, which then discharges along between these two parcels and then eventually goes into the Madawaska River. So that's the area of our upland review area is this dashed line you see. And so we are proposing a one-day automated car wash. So we'll have a right in only, right in out onto the Berlin Turnpike with a cross connection to the rear to both parcels to the north and the south. So then you have vacuum parking spaces in the center here, as well as some employee spaces to the rear. The employee spaces are almost entirely out of the upland review, but we are doing some grading back there for stormwater management. Here's our grading and drainage plan. So as you can see, there is a swale that comes along the back of the site in the upland review area. That's taking the roof runoff from this building, piped under this road, and then down into the wetlands. We also have two subsurface stormwater detention basins on site, which are treated with hydrodynamic separators, and those also discharge to the wetlands along the edge of the parcel. And then our only direct wetland impacts are due to this cross connection, in which we're proposing two 36-inch RCP culverts to go under, which are designed to convey the 100-year storm. Utility improvements are pretty much entirely out of the upland review area, so everything comes to Berlin Turnpike, which is in the road. And the only thing to the rear of the site is a buried propane tank, which will have the gas for the building. Because it is a car wash, we have 3 reclaim tanks, which will circulate the water prior to going to an oil water separator and then going to the sanitary sewer system.
How big is the propane tank gonna be, out of curiosity?
What?
How big's a propane tank gonna be?
That, I don't know, that one you get sized by the building MEP engineer. We should grow it at 6 feet by 20 feet, which is the size of the outer pad, and the tank is smaller than that footprint. And then here is the erosion sediment control plan. So we have a construction entrance off of Berlin Turnpike, silt stacks and all the proposed catch basins, material stockpile, concrete wash pit, erosion control matting at all slopes, and a temporary sediment trap for during construction, as well as straw bale back silt fence all along the borders of wetlands.
So you're not gonna be able to enter from Home Depot during construction.
No, yeah, that cross access will be closed until construction is complete. It's not there now, so
Right.
people aren't trying to use it. That pretty much covers everything, so I'll open the questions.
Can you give us a little more detail on the storm system and the storm water management plan for the site? Because the commission did receive,
Yeah, I was just gonna
late
say,
yesterday, a comment from the Berlin Land Trust voicing concerns with certain items. So if you can detail that system a bit more, that would be helpful.
So the storm pipes and structures were sized to convey the 25-year storm without ponding or surcharging within a foot of the top of the catch basin. The detention system itself was sized for the 2, 10, 25, and 100-year storms to not increase the peak discharge off the site. So there's two subsurface systems. One's a little bigger than the other just due to the height of fill over the site. So there's 2 catch basins here that drain into this front system, as well as 2 catch basins here and here. Then this system outlets to the rear of the site, and then parallels the wetland prior to discharging to the wetland over here. And then the rear system has these 2 catch basins as one in the access road that enter this rear subsurface detention system. And that will connect to the same pipe from the front system to the same scour hole to provide erosion protection. And all the building leaders will go to these splash pads to the rear, and they're swaled along the building, captured in this small pond with an outlet control structure prior to be discharged to the swale. That will also go to the same wetland. And that is where all the water today from the site goes. It is generally sloped from this corner down to the wetlands.
what the land trust is concerned about, let me just read here. It says, in particular, car washes are dirty, car debris, oil, soap, gas, and dirt from all parts of the car washed, during the operation.
I can talk about like the operations. So everything in the car wash is sloped into the building itself, and all the drains within the car wash building go to the sanitary sewer, not the storm. So it's a separate system. And as well for anything even on site, the cars will already be clean, so anything dripping is considered clean water. But anything that does enter those catch basins will go through a hydrodynamic separator first before the system.
Stormwater management systems, those are below ground, correct?
Yes. Yeah, so they won't be visible. on the sites.
Mr. Chairman, in an effort, I think, to address some additional concerns of the land trust, I would make a recommendation that, to the commission, that the applicant install what is referred to as an AbTech ultra urban filter with a smart sponge. All of the catch basins, it's a sponge that filters any oils, greases, any volatiles and cars that may be sitting at a
Waiting in-
vacuum center, ready to
waiting
get
in line,
or
yeah.
something or other, before it gets into the system. It's either an AbTech of that type or something equivalent. We're not recommending a particular product, but something that does
Something that's gonna catch the,
same type of thing. We'll offer that. Other
will
than
say,
that-
so I
Excuse me,
guess
I'm
one thing I
sorry.
should mention, so the hydrodynamic separators I was mentioning are here, this one here prior to going, oh, and also this head, there's three. But those do accomplish many of the same features.
Doing twice the same thing is always better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and
It's a
there's
good
not a lot of
idea.
catch basins on site, so I don't think it'd be something that,
That's a recommendation from staff.
and I think if this is approved, that's gonna be part of the approval.
That would be part
Yeah.
of.
Anybody else have any questions? Anything? Bill, anything?
This is really a question for the applicant, maybe not so much for you, but what other uses of the site were considered other than this car wash?
I don't think so. There was other considerations, would be expanding the gas station next door. Really, a car wash was always considered, but there's different styles of car wash. The self-serve open bay type were considered.
And does the car wash now have any impact on the wetlands? The previous car wash, did that have it?
The one from.
Yeah,
from the
Citgo.
north? No.
I think that's actually been closed down for 10 or 15 years.
Has it really?
I'm trying. And there were issues, I think, DEP at that point, because they weren't filtering materials properly and there was runoff going into the parking lot. Same thing happened over at the intersection of Mysterio and Farmington Avenue.
That's open
And they
now.
rehabbed
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Does the stormwater drainage system just rely on retention and ultimate discharge, or does it also rely on infiltration as well? Like, for
So-
example, where the roof leaders discharge to that basin, is that just simply a retention basin, or is it also an infiltration basin?
So we didn't account for infiltration in the design to be conservative, just due to the proximity of the wetlands and the streams surrounding the site. We don't anticipate a lot to be able to happen.
Okay,
But this swale will allow anything that can infiltrate to infiltrate.
okay,
And root water is generally considered clean, so
the roof runoff.
yeah, because this is only taking the root runoff and
Okay.
anything from grass areas. But as far as these systems, we just think because of the depth of them, by the time you get into the catch basin, it's most likely below the groundwater elevation, so you won't.
Just strictly retention.
Any other questions or comments? Jim, you're good with
With the recommendation.
Yes.
of the catch basin inserts.
Anybody else?
And there's no direct impact to the wetland boundary
The only direct impact is due to the culvert crossing.
outside of the crossing.
Yeah,
So the,
outside of the crossing now.
You all set? If there's no other comments or questions, I'd like to have a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close those.
I second.
Public hearing.
Okay. Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Now we need a motion to either accept or deny. And if we accept, we'll put the condition of the Aptec sponges as part of the approval,
Or
or equivalent, right? So can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion
And with this, here,
with the Aptec sponge system to be installed in the catch
or the
basins
equivalent.
or equivalent.
Can I have a second? Second, somebody?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next up is application 24-04WF, proposal by 554 Berlin Turnpike Associates LLC to construct a retail facility and associated improvements within both a regulated wetland area and a flood hazard zone on lot 13, 13B, block 83 on the Berlin Turnpike.
Stand
Good
on my
evening,
head.
Attorney Timothy Sullivan on behalf of the applicant, 550 to 554 Berlin Turnpike Association. Listen tonight, Steve Davis, who's giving everybody a handout. Okay.
So the one I just gave you is the previous. You spin that up.
What's that?
That over.
Sorry about that. It's upside down.
That's not gonna cut it. Stand ahead.
Just making sure you're covered. Give everybody a chance to familiarize themselves. We've been in front of you many, many times in the last 5 years. This is part of a Berlin Turnpike Development Zone proposal where you're ready to aggregate lots with a residential component to your mixed-use development. And, you know, the overall development involves 3 lots. You have the 502, which is what we're talking about right now is the agenda item, small retail lot. Then you have the commercial lot where the ABC supply company is. Then you have the proposed residential to the rear. And that's 522, that's 554, that's 502 Berlin Turnpike. We've been here a few times modifying permit for the 2020 permit. There are now 3 permits, 3 inland wetland permit, or 2 inland wetland permits. This inland wetland permit has lapsed, and that's why we're here tonight, with a new application, which has very few minor changes that Steve Judas, the engineer, will review with you. No impact at all. We're completely out of the wetlands, no uplands. There's some floodplain filling, but we're excavating a larger portion, so mitigating for any losses, storage. I'll defer to Steve now, but we'll come back to the other 2, actually just the 522 Berlin Turnpike. We're seeking to modify that permit. And all of this is consistent with a stipulated judgment that is pending at the Planning and Zoning Commission approved a month or so ago. That's working through the system right now. But one of the things we had to do is, remember, we've modified some permits as the proposal changed. And so now we're here with hopefully a final proposal, and it requires us to get this wetlands permit and then modify that, which we'll talk about later. I'll turn it over to Steve to go over the slight revisions to 502.
Good evening, Stephen Judas with Cole Civil offices located at 876 South Main Street, Plantsville. I've been before you.
Excuse me, you can't hear him, Lisa?
Sorry.
You have to speak
I'll
up.
speak up, I'll try, not my strong suit. Stephen Judas with the office of Cole Civil located at 876 South Main Street in Plantsville. I actually presented this application before you quite some time ago. I think it was 2018.
2018.
When we came in. Our applicant at that time was proposing auto repair with a car wash at the end of the building. We had a curb cut proposed in the Berlin Turnpike, and we had a parking area with a queuing lane for the drive-through and a bypass lane for the car wash at this location. We had a dumpster located here. This was our flood limit at this location here, and we were proposing to just do some filling for the building, keep the building up above the flood zone, 1 foot per feet.
And Steve, if I may interrupt you for just a bit, you're referring to the floodplain, not the floodway, correct?
Floodplain, yes, sir. And we, in order to mitigate stormwater management, we had proposed a basin with an overflow at this location. We have 2 catch basins in the parking lot. This plan was approved by this commission and went before planning and zoning was approved, and then it kind of died. It kind of sat there for a long time. And then in the process, we started the process of the other buildings, and this was kind of, I hate to say, a little bit of an afterthought. As we went through the process with these buildings, this became part of our, came in play because it was part of our retail use for this application. But the owner of the property didn't want to pursue automotive repair and car wash. We were hoping for a retail space. So we basically kept the outline. We did make a connection here, which is different from that plan. And we took away the drive-through lane. We still have the drive around the back, around the building. We added green space and a sidewalk at the front of the building instead of having the overhead doors. And we added 2 grass islands in the parking lot, but maintained the same drainage system and so on, detention basin and overall floodplain impacts are the same for what we originally proposed. The plan does have a couple other things, show bus shelter, possible bus shelters out front that really don't necessarily get into or involved with wetlands or floodplains, but it gives you an idea of what's happening with a sidewalk that runs along the front. But the perimeter, the landscaping, the floodplain impacts are consistent with the previous application. It just seemed that this was a better match for our proposal than the auto repair, and probably a better match for the wetlands and the river. Obviously, we've got this river that runs through the site, and we just think that this is a better use for the property. Do you have any questions about that change?
Do you have any idea what kind of retail you expect to go in there?
We don't at this point.
So it's going to be a generic building with a generic, right?
It'll be right now it's generic, I guess is a good way to describe it. It'll either be 1 or 2 users. I would assume they'll subdivide the building accordingly, but the footprint doesn't really change from what we would propose.
And as for future use, that would be subject to planning and zoning. We have to go back to get a specific site use. That's part of the judgment as well. Part of the BTD zone is to try to maintain some harmony and consistency in the development of the 3, so that they are integrated.
Steve, can you explain the compensatory storage?
So as I mentioned before, we had to do a little filling to keep this building. This purple line, as you can see, the flood zone comes up through the building area. And our 2 options are to elevate that building or to flood proof that building, which would mean put in flood vests and things like that. It's better to elevate the building, keep it up a foot above the flood zone. We can eliminate flood insurance and things like that. But what that does is it takes this line and it brings it around the back corner of that building. So we have to do a little filling in order to get that flood zone out of that building. So what we did here is we created this detention basin, but we made it larger than what we needed in order to allow for the compensation in that area as well. So this is providing our flood storage, and it's also providing our 0 increase in peak runoff for the storm events that we typically have in this area. And you can see it's in the flood zone, so we know that it will flood when we have that situation.
How much fill are you bringing in to break?
It's about a foot and a half of fill. It's not a lot to it. I think we had a total of 70.
I think it was about 70 cubic yards, and the excavation was going to be about 160. So it was about an 80 net.
Okay, so I was thinking you're going to bring in truckload after truckload, but no, okay.
So there's actually
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, there's actually a net storage gain of about 80 cubic yards because of the larger retention.
Okay.
I know it seems silly, but when we're dealing with the flood zone, sometimes we're splitting hairs. When FEMA does their study, they give us pretty accurate profiles, and we're able to look at that profile, determine within, what they say within a tenth of a foot. But we all know when it floods, it floods. So that's why we have the 1 foot safety zone. We have that 4 foot above the foot. Yes, sir.
So further towards the river is noted on the plan here. It says area of proposed flood storage mitigation.
Yeah.
So that's on a separate parcel. It looks like there's a property boundary there.
Yeah. So when we originally came to see you, our property included this. At some point, the owner was going to sell this off separately, and he changed the property line so this was on this piece, and this became part of this piece back here.
Okay.
And one of the reasons that this was part of our previous application for these sites here, we have detention basins. We also were proposing floodplain mitigation in this area to also compensate for flood filling and for stormwater compensation for the storms and so on.
So that peninsula, if you will, between the meanders, that was proposed to be brought lower in elevation
Yes.
to allow more storage,
Yes.
but that's no longer the case?
Nope, that's still part of the application, but
Okay.
that was actually, I think you had approved this previously.
Okay.
Right,
So
that's part of the residential.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
nothing to do with.
So as part of it, yes, we're trying to bring them all together is what
I
we're
see.
doing. And this modification kind of, I hate to say it, but got more or less kind of lost in the shuffle.
But that's no longer a modification because the
This is a new application.
right, new application,
Right.
because the other one lapsed.
Yeah.
Right. We should have tried to adjust it before it lapsed. but
Steve,
we
one thing
didn't.
I was confused with,
Yes, sir.
with this proposal, and just for my benefit, I want to make sure.
Mhm.
This application references 2 lots.
It's actually lot 13. The original.
There's a third-
Well, 13D is
13
this,
and 13B.
13B is 502.
and 13 is basically this and this. And we have this little connection which goes over both properties. I think that's the reason we have both parcels listed.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, because the next application is lot 13.
Yes, that's the residential lot, 522,
So residential is 13, this is 13B.
13B.
Okay.
Okay, so we didn't
So
have
we should probably restructure the application,
Yeah.
make a motion to make sure it's listed properly.
Yeah, the lot 13 should not be on this proposal. Okay, because it's on here now.
And the other thing we should do is take the W off it, because it's strictly a floodplain.
Oh, right, all right,
Yes.
Yep.
There's no wetlands or upland.
right.
So someone should make a motion to revise the application identification, removing the W and lot 13.
Right. The new application should be application 24-4F
Yep.
on lot 13B.
Correct.
We're going to blame Bart for that.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
remove,
because he's not here, right?
He might be on the
so remove the W from lot
Right.
13B,
Yeah.
correct?
Right. And
That's probably half my.
and remove lot 13 from the application.
Yes.
So
Hold
before
on.
we go any further, can I have can I have a motion for that effect to change the application to, like I said, 24-04F and removing lot 13 from the application?
Okay, Commissioner Road will make the motion on application 24-04WF to remove the lot 13 from the application
And no W.
and remove the W off of 13B, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
That's my motion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Now, Mr. Chairman, knowing that we're strictly dealing with a floodplain application, the commission can take action if you're comfortable with what you've been.
Today, right?
what
Yeah.
you've heard today.
I'll make a motion to approve 24-04WF.
No, get rid of the W, no W.
No, right, you get no W, I'm sorry. Right, no W. Just the.
Can I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And now, other business. Application 20-07 WF proposal by 554 Berlin Turnpike Associates LLC to construct a multi-family development and associated appurtenances. Thanks, Lisa, thank you. Within an upland review area, floodway and floodplain on lot 13, block 83 at 522 Berlin Turnpike. It's a request of permit modifications.
Good evening again, Attorney Tim Sullivan on behalf of the applicant, 550 to 554 Berlin Turnpike Associates. Again, Steve Judas, the civil engineer, is here today in support of the modification. This was the original, this originally was approved in 2020, hence the 20-07 WF application number. It was approved at that time. The 522 had 2 buildings. Where it says proposed building number 1, you can pretty much draw a line in between and separate them. There was two buildings proposed, buildings 1 and 2, and then there was a building 3 to the right. You may recall that after the approval of that, we came back for some technical modifications in May of 2023. And then in September, rather in November of 2023, we actually came with a proposal for 2 9-story buildings. And we modified the proposal. That was in pursuit of a 8-30G application, which would be withdrawn pursuant to the stipulation that's brought us back here. So we're here again tonight to modify for the 4th time June 2023 wetlands permit. And what we've done is we've merged the 2 buildings, 1 and 2, into one building. And then we have building number 2 remaining to the right. Previously, there was a community center, a standalone community center. Those community centers have been brought inside each one of the buildings. And so there's less of an impact with this proposal, but I'll leave it to Steve Judas to describe what, if any, impacts have changed by the merging of the 2 buildings.
So, Stephen Judas, with Cole Civil, 876 South Main Street, Plantsville. I'm going to give you my old address by accident. I'm trying to get my head wrapped around this as well. Because I'm like, why are we doing this one? But yes, when Tim and I came back before you, it was to change the buildings. We haven't changed the footprint of the site really, other than adding this area here. And then this dog park was up higher. We brought this area down. It really we didn't make any changes along our wetland boundaries in any of these areas. If you remember previously, we did take the sidewalk and flip it from one side of this driveway to the other, and we made some modifications to the width of this driveway. That was something that we came back before you with the other plan. So there really isn't any changes. We did have storm drainage that came this way. We ended up bringing it around the building this way. But again, nothing that should change from a wetland or a floodplain impact. All the stormwater management is the same. The impervious surfaces have actually gone down a little bit. And we're just trying to bring it all together.
Is the size of building 1 bigger or smaller than what was with the 2 buildings?
The edges are right on where it originally was. It's slightly bigger just due to the infill of this section here, which will be the community center on that building.
But the overall length of it
has not changed. The width and length has not changed. We originally had some picnic tables in the middle here, and we moved those to the back area. That's what this little gray area here is, outdoor area for picnic tables and benches, some gas grills, stuff like that.
So Steve, they've gone, correct me if I'm wrong, but 2 of the buildings are 4 stories and 1 is 3, or is it?
I can't keep track of the story.
Well, we had a 4-story and a 3-story building. This is the 4-story. This is a 3-story building.
Yep.
Previously, there were 2 4-stories and a 3-story. We merged the 4 stories. And the commission may recall the November modification also entailed actually splitting the permits apart. So each lot has a separate permit now. The 554 is now 23-10 WF. The residential remains 20-07 WF. And then we got the new applicator, the new permit number without the W.
Right, without the W.
24 dash. Forget the number.
2404.
So as far as this commission is concerned, you're really not changing anything from your last application?
We're not.
In terms of your regulated.
Regular, right, that's what I mean, yeah.
We've changed the footprint of the building, so we had to come back.
Right, but as far as the
The
impacts, right.
I would just like to ask Attorney Coppola in case she has anything she'd like to add to this.
I do not. Thank you for acknowledging me, Jennifer Coppola, for the record. I'm counsel to the commission from Corporation Counsel's Office, Sewell and D'Onofrio. No, I don't. The one thing I would just like to make the public aware, if anybody does want to comment on the stipulated judgment, and this is a little different circumstance than the last stipulated judgment that you had, because in that matter you had a separate wetlands appeal. That is not the case, obviously. Here, they're before you tonight getting new appeals for this new settlement plan. But we do have on the stipulated judgment, we do have a court hearing scheduled. And any interested member of the public can address the court regarding the settlement plan. And that is presently scheduled for June 10th. So a separate notice will publish and be posted with regard to that. But I do want to just mention that. But as far as what's been represented to you, I have no comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if there's no other comments or questions, can I have a motion to approve and deny? Application 20-07 WF.
I'll make a motion to approve. Commissioner Rogan will make a motion to approve application 20-07 WF.
With modifications.
Modifications.
as proposed.
Right.
With modifications as proposed.
Can I have a second?
Jackson seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second. Oh, we all, yes, all unanimous.
Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Take care of that back.
Tim, it's called a riding lawnmower.
Yes.
Got Gary coming over Saturday to roll my lawn.
Next other business in front of our commission is notice of violation, Lot 2, Block 127 at 552 Deming Road.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as you can see from the correspondence that was sent to the property owner, we've been made aware of non-permitted regulated activities in the flood hazard zone, the upland review area, and more particularly in the floodway of the Manabassa River.
That's why I'm here.
All right, state your name
I'm
and,
Greg Lyschatz, 552, all right, 570 Deming Road LLC is the owner. What is my violation?
The violation itself is that there is an activity being performed. There was grading and fill assumedly brought into the floodway and the floodplain of the Manabassa River, along with the storage of massive amounts of material in the floodway of the river.
What material? I'm just asking.
Wood piles.
I mean, I was back there and I saw it, that thing is.
We can see that from home.
Yeah.
I know, it's great. I mean, it's great for selling, okay.
And
I can't do that?
it's probably a non-permitted use in terms of the zoning, from a zoning standpoint. Contractor's yard is not allowed in that particular zone.
Okay.
It's not zoned for that.
Well, what's zoned for that area? Can you please
You
explain
would
that
have
to
to,
me?
you would have to contact the zoning department.
Okay.
They informed me that use is not allowed. But from this commission standpoint, the concern is you have, God, that pile of wood, it must be 20, 30 feet high.
Oh, yeah.
It's 200
Cords of wood.
Yeah. And it's
Right along the slope of the Manabassa
yeah.
River, in the floodplain, below the flood elevation.
Well, that's why I'm here today. Where's the floodplain? And am I in the floodplain?
Yes.
I mean, that's, okay, I mean, I need to know that so I can fix the problem.
Yep.
If I'm in the floodplain, then can I have something, you guys can tell me, hey, Greg, you're in the floodplain, can you move the wood? Or I have to go to planning and zoning first.
I think the planning and zoning, because like Mr. Horrible said, that property is not zoned for a business like that.
Right.
So they may tell you have to remove all the wood altogether.
Right. Well, that was a repair facility when I bought it. There was 26 cars. I had the print on it. There's 26 cars that were just sitting in the back of Pops.
Yep.
Mr. Larson was a pack rat. He thought everything was worth gold, but he had 26 cars in there. I bought the property because I bought the property next door from a Thai family. And Teddy Thai, the son, was cutting wood at Micron. and he was sawing wood there for the last 8 years out front. There's a big wood
Right.
sign,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And the Ty family's a great family. And now he says, hey, Greg, can we, you know, you've got problems over here. You're going to try to rent through a guy to do a 8-bay golf facility. And we've been going through the process, and we finally are almost there. We're almost there. It takes 2 years. We're almost there. Wish I opened up 2 years ago. We're almost there because we had to change the zoning from a machine shop to a sports facility. Like, okay, so we did that, and Mr. Robles been working with us on that, and forgot her name. Maureen. She's been working with.
The gentleman who was opening the golf was in front of us.
Yeah,
3-4 months ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Joe Cassio. So he's, you know, he's like, he's getting blood dry, you know, paying rent there to me. And yeah, I've gotten rent for a long time now, but I think it's a great opportunity for a golf facility to come into town, and there's a great one up the street. I mean, he's got only 4 bays, maybe 5, Circle D. He's right over the thing. So he's doing well, and golf is the next best thing. I mean, you have to play golf till you're 90. And this is inside. This is October, November, December, January. So he has a great, you know, looking into the future. Which I said, okay, I'll give you the opportunity. So, as you know, I'm a mess right now. I just got off a job I'm doing in Rocky Hill. I work 12 hours a day, 14 if I can. I would have worked 14 today. When I do something, I do it. I mean, you guys, if you're all from town, I think you all are from town, and you saw Bob Larson's place, it wasn't pretty. I fixed it up. I made it nice. People comment me every day on the property. Oh my God, great property. It looks great. It's appealing, especially the building that's for the golf facility. Very appealing. We gotta make some different changes, the parking lot and things like that, and entrances and exits. We're doing that with the town, but okay, we're over there at the thing. So we're at 552. So I'm here. I need to go to somebody else to find out if I can store wood there or put wood there. Or
What I would
not wood there.
suggest, and what I would suggest to the commission is that they require you to retain a land surveyor, civil engineer, to provide an as-built plan of the property from the flood zone to the Mattabesset River, the limit of the 100-year floodplain to the Mattabesset River, to see what presently exists there. He will also map the limits of the floodway, and he has to pick up the elevations of the surface so we can determine how much fill was brought in that has to be compensated for within the floodplain.
Okay,
So,
well,
do we
have records of?
Yeah, we have aerial photography that gives.
Do we have a topo of that property so I can at least know exactly where I stand there, as in if I'm off the floodplain, or if I have to just bring the wood 30 feet or 100 feet towards Home Depot? I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
that's why I'm here. I'm asking you.
That's why you gotta get your own.
That's what your surveyor will
Okay, you got a surveyor. I got a surveyor.
I'm going to give you this. It shows the approximate limits of the floodway that goes up into the building, the rear of the building. Your surveyor will know that there is information available online from the state of Connecticut, from aerial photography, that shows elevations and contours. I think the latest was 2019. So that'll give us the grades of what was there prior to you purchasing it.
Okay.
And then from there, we can tell how much fill was brought in, how much fill will have to be removed, and what material will have to be removed from the floodway.
And then should he approach the zoning?
I didn't understand what he just said. Fill. I never brought in any fill. I graded off what was there with all the cars and the piles of crap and everything, and I just made it beautiful.
Well, the survey will determine that.
The survey will determine it, but then we should know. I'm just going to go to where do I have to go?
Well, a land surveyor with an
No, but I
engineer.
mean, do I go to the state of Connecticut to
No,
get
no,
their
no,
survey?
no. What I was saying
Oh.
is your surveyor will know that he can go back to the state and review the state records of aerial photography
Okay.
that depict the contours of the land, the elevations of the land. I want to say, Bill, it goes back to most recent is like 2019, maybe 2020.
Well, I don't think we go 2019, 16, 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I looked on the computer, and it said 2019, because I looked at all this, and I didn't see. Yeah, okay, where they have that new pump station, they're putting a brand new pump station in right
Yep.
on the thing from me. That's completely in the floodplain. That's
Yes,
like,
it is. Yep.
okay, so they have that there, okay, all right, and then the other building is almost in it. In this building, all right. So I have to get a surveyor.
Yep.
I'll grab a surveyor. I have a surveyor that surveyed the property next door. Is that would
We
be,
get you a card.
would you be okay with that?
Yeah. As long as he's
Charlie.
As long as it's licensed in the state of Connecticut.
He met with him and then he saw the pile.
Well, I drove around the
Yeah.
back of the other
Yeah,
building and
yeah.
you could, you know,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you
It's
could
great.
almost scale
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yes.
Yeah,
Well, I have
Charlie,
you,
we-
Jim,
yeah.
I have you.
Okay, we'll give
But I
Charlie.
mean, Charlie, Charlie.
Yep.
Charlie can do this?
Yes.
Okay, so that's great. So I'll get Charlie right on it and, we'll get this done. I mean,
Now, do
Whatever
we
we
need a
gotta
motion
do.
to make sure he comes back next
No,
meeting?
no, it's the violation is still
Okay.
active, so
Okay.
okay, so cease and desist.
stays in place.
It stays in
until-
place, so I can't do nothing on
Nothing.
that piece of property.
No.
When can I do something on that piece of property?
When you come back to us and show us
once
what
we
was
resolve.
there and what, you know, what you're gonna do to
Rectify. the
rectify
problem.
any
Yeah,
problems, anything
yeah.
like this.
All right,
And then we'll go from there. So the quicker you get it
when do
done,
I get it done? I can go do
The
something.
ball is in
Can
your
I-
court.
our next meeting is June
4th. All right, cool.
That's our next meeting.
That'd be great.
So if you
All
come
right.
to the next meeting,
Well,
we have
I'm
some.
gonna call Charlie tomorrow morning, get his ass over there, because,
Yeah.
we gotta get it done.
Yeah, and you know, and if I'm sure if you have any questions, Jim, we'd be more than happy to help you out.
Yeah, well, okay,
Communication is a good thing.
Right.
I got guys dropping wood off, so no more wood dropped
No
off.
more wood
No,
off.
Nothing
coming
coming.
No,
And I can't do nothing over there.
no,
In the back.
in the
Right.
back, yeah,
Okay,
You
okay.
can get rid of wood, but you can't bring more in.
yeah.
Well, you guys
I would
want- you guys
suggest,
want some wood?
I would suggest you
Yeah.
start getting rid of
Getting rid of it, yeah.
Well,
I'm
nobody's
sure-
buying wood right now.
Well,
Yeah,
I
like
realize,
said,
I
said to Teddy, I said, Teddy, sure gonna go get rid of this wood. Randy, don't worry about it.
Do you have
October,
other-
Fall's gonna rain and we're gonna.
Do you have other properties where you can bring this wood to?
Yeah, the one next door.
No.
no, there's nothing on that property. Either
Can I,
property.
like, okay, let me
Can you
ask you this.
wholesale it to somebody to sell it?
Yeah, you know, Stonehenge, he buys it from me, but then he doubles the price. That's a lot of wood to sell in a month. Nobody's gonna buy it.
Well, I can tell you this, the largest floods we've had in this
Yep.
community.
Yep.
In my career.
Yep.
Okay. It
Over
was
the
June
road.
2nd, June 4th of 1982.
Yep.
And June 4th of 1992. And there was water in your building.
In
a lot
the
of-
house and in the other building, not in, well, there was probably in the front of Micron, because Micron brought that up to 35 feet. All right, I get a little, I didn't want to waste this guy's time because he wants to get the hell out of here. When I do something, I do it right. I'm from Weathersfield. I own 3 businesses in Weathersfield. I own a bar, or a restaurant, flower shop, and a gas station. I moved to Rocky Hill. Now I'm on the oldest running ferry in the nation, the Rocky Hill Ferry. Tell me about floods. 3 times this year.
Yep.
5 feet, 3 feet, and 1.5 feet. Never got flooded in December, ever. Even the shad guy, I have a shad guy. The shad fisherman's been fishing out of there for 60 years. I don't want to get rid of him, but I live upstairs, and for the next 6 weeks, it's in the house. But the guy looks like the longshore fisherman. Looks like he's on. So he's still there. He's fishing like mad. But yeah, in April, we got them all set up to go. We flooded in April, 1.5 feet in my basement. It comes in and goes right out. not a problem. And so I know the flooding problems, and I've been at that property for 2002. So yeah, I don't want to have any problems with wood floating away or doing things like that. So if I can move the wood or I don't know, I'm gonna get, like Jim says,
Get your surveyor on
get the
it.
surveyor on right away and find out if I'm in the floodplain.
Oh, you're definitely,
So the floodplain, you can't store wood.
you can't store anything.
You can't put cars back there.
The floodway, within the
Floodway.
floodway, the floodway runs to basically the back of your building.
Right.
The floodplain, a vehicle here and there, yes, when the flood, we're going to get flooding,
You
you remove it.
Well, the 26 cars, Larson had back there were in the ground. You know, the old 65 Mustangs, the old oil truck, blah, 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 blah. So that was all back there. All right, so we gotta,
Get a hold of Charlie,
yeah.
have him call me.
you know, Charlie.
I think Charlie knows what he.
Oh, yeah, you know, Charlie says, Greg, I think you're gonna be getting a call from James. And you know, it was weird. I went to my office at 221 Walker Hill Road on Saturday. I'm like, oh, that was fast. I gotta be there on the 7th. And that was this Saturday. So, all right, so
So like I said, our next meeting in June,
June
be
4th,
here
I
with,
get here with Charlie,
Yep.
show you what I got.
Yep.
And if I'm not in the floodplain,
You're in the floodplain.
yeah, you're in.
so I have to move that wood.
Why don't you
Why don't you
just
start
plan
moving
on,
that freaking wood?
Yeah, yeah.
All
That'd be
right,
a great idea.
can I move it to the side of the building?
it's gotta be out of the floodplain.
Yeah.
Right, so we gotta find out where the floodplain is, and then we gotta move it.
Well, like Jim said, I think the floodplain goes right up to the back of the building.
Right, so I can move it to the side of the building.
I would find a whole other location somewhere else.
Yeah,
That's where
I think
we're
you're gonna see it goes up between the building and the house, just where you come down between the two structures,
Yeah.
the floodplain is there.
Is there. So I can't move it to the backyard of the White House.
No.
Well. if the
Charlie will verify that.
Okay, so if the, I'm just asking you guys, if I'm out of the floodplain, I can store wood there.
No, we're not saying that. It's
No.
the zoning
No.
issue.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're not,
So what can I do there?
yeah, we're not
Yes.
saying you can store it there because it's not zoned for
All
that.
right,
If
so
you're
what
working
can I-
inside the building.
Huh?
You'll have a use for the inside of the
Oh, it's
building.
inside building, but I can't do
Outside of
outside
the
of the building
building,
until I find out from Charlie. All right, that's fine. All right, I'll just go see Charlie and get that thing. And if the, like I say, if Mr. Horrible says the floodplain's in the back of my building, then I can move to the side of the building.
But your engineer and your surveyor is gonna mark all that out.
Right.
And he'll tell you, and I guarantee that's all. You're not gonna put anything anywhere around that building.
Your consultants.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
okay, all right, that's fine. All right, so as long as you can do that, that's good. All right. Well, we're
See you
good.
next month.
See you guys next month. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Number 3, notice violation of 61 Still Meadow Lane.
Mr. Chairman, I've spoken with the property owner several times over the past couple of days. Mr. Beretta explained to him where the concerns are with the activities that he's performed on the property. We received a complaint from the neighborhood in regards to activity in what they felt was a regulated wetland area. And the parcel itself has a history, and I think I provided
Yes.
that
Yeah, you did.
to you
Yep.
in the past, probably 10 or 15 years ago. The previous property owner had encroached into the wetlands, into the upland review area. Was not very cooperative at first when he appeared before the commission. And we actually leaned the property, identifying the violations that were on site. Once that occurred, a couple months later, and again, this is previous property owner,
Right.
finally came around and realized that what he had to do to correct the situation, which he did. We released the liens. The current property owner, I guess, was not aware of the restrictions on the property. They're on the plot plan,
Right.
they're there. We had the conversation today. I instructed him, very cooperative, wants to make the whole thing go away. So typically what the commission will request, advice of staff, is to have a survey done of the property to depict the current conditions, where the encroachments are, and then we go from there in terms of the restoration plan. Fully willing to do that. And I spoke to him again this morning, and this afternoon, I didn't talk with him, but a surveyor left a message on my voicemail.
Oh, so he's
Wanting
already,
to know.
he's already got
Yeah,
somebody, he's,
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
So he's
So-
putting the best foot forward right now.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So
All right.
that's the current status of that.
All right, and number 4, notice violation at 285 Sullyton Road.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, within your package, you can see we received a complaint from a Jim Zareski regarding activity that he's witnessed happening on Mr. Campanella's property, particularly dumping of wood chips and materials over a slope into a wetland down below. So the notice of violation went out. It was a written complaint. It's a valid complaint at this point, so Mr. Campanella's here.
Yeah, I got the notice this afternoon and got my butt here as soon as I got home from work.
You just got it this afternoon.
Yeah, I literally coached T-ball, drove home for dinner, and my wife said, "There's mail for you." I opened it, came here.
Just state your name and your address.
Tom
for the record.
Campanelli, 285 Southington Road,
Thank you.
Berlin. I didn't know what it was until this minute. So it's definitely wood chips. There's no doubt in my mind. So I use it on the berm to keep the poison oak down. My wife is highly allergic. We weed whacked it, we brush hogged it, we tried everything we could. Didn't know it was encroaching. So I could certainly stop it, and if it's too close, we could pull it back up with an excavator. That's not a problem at all.
I mean,
yeah.
should we get a survey just to see how much he'd has to?
I have one from my building permit. Nothing's changed other than we top dressed the top and then we just dumped recently. So
maybe
it
at
just
this
started like
point,
a week ago.
we set up a time where you and I can visit the site,
Sure.
go out and take a look before we were to
Right,
request a survey.
Okay.
Yeah, if anything, I would say that to start raking that material back up off the slope, whatever's falling down into the wetland area. If you can reach it, hopefully you can.
Yeah.
With the backhoe, peel it all back up, and then maybe you and I can meet. I'm going to be away. I'm going to be out of the office until the middle of next week. Let me get you a card. Give me a call and we can set up a time to go out.
Yeah, DJ, we're if you're willing to work with us and Mr. Horrible, we'll take this care, get it taken care of right away, and there won't be any problems with it. So.
No, I've been there for 40 years, so bought the property from my parents. Built a house in a 100-year floodplain behind me. I figured that everything I was doing was fine until I got the letter. So, I know none the difference. So. I'm the property, for everybody who knows, I'm the property right next to the 125,000 cubic yard of fill. So
yeah, but that's out of the wetlands.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But yeah,
I'm staying clear of that conversation. You guys are welcome to go take a walk yourself and see the flooding and the water levels that have risen between that and the silt ponds at the golf course. But as far as the wood chips go, that's easy.
We can certainly chat about that.
Yeah. We did it 10 years ago, and the town was very proactive to call up Tommy Meyer. He went across and dredged. We just need the town to hold their end of the bargain on that, so the rest will stop flooding. But as far as the wood chips go, it's considered done, and I'll call you. I'm out. I leave Monday for a business trip to Friday, but I'll call you.
Yeah.
You been tomorrow, or are you out tomorrow?
Tomorrow's not a good
Email. Just
Sure.
give me my cell phone number and all that. We'll coordinate for when I get back and you get back. Okay.
and that's good. Yeah, work with Jim. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. All right.
And if Jim everything works out, anything else next meeting, we could possibly pull
Make it all go away.
right, make it out right.
Works for me.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, DJ.
Thank you guys.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Jim, I know you got some correspondence here with not so much correspondence, but
we forwarding copies again to everyone of the wetlands regs, the upland review regs, and the flood hazard regulations, just for bedtime reading, you know, keep yourself abreast.
Right. Jeff, I know you've been sitting there. Do you have anything?
I'm sorry. No, I don't, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I was primarily here on 550, 554, but of course did receive, the cease and desist orders, so I wanted to hear what those issues were. But I don't have anything for you tonight. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer. If there's nothing else, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. See you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trying to get us excited. He's trying to get us.
We had our high school. I spent summers there, swimming, jumping off out of trees.
Every Sunday, I'd hook up